Welcome back again. This is Fox, the next installment in our Max Tourist Let's Play. The sole purpose of this save was to get as many tourists as possible across the old world and Cape Trelawney. This video we're going to be going over the production side of things. All of my production is done. A few little things I need to tweak here and there. But yeah, we're just going to be going over the insane amount of goods, as you can see from this island, that a lot of tourists need. I planned for 4 million. We're probably going to end up around 3.5 million. This is generally what I do when I take on these sort of big builds. I build more than I think we need to, and then just scale it down as you come to the end game. It's better to have more production in place, have the space allocated for the production for those extra tourists, and then scale it down as the save goes on. But yeah, first thing we're going to talk about is furs. Tourists need fur coats. This island is making 2,348 tons of fur coats a minute. This needs, as you could imagine, 2,337 tons of wool. We'll get to that in a minute. We're not making that amount of wool, but we're close. So yeah, fur coats. Normally they need cotton and furs. I'm using one specialist. It's probably the best specialist in the game, or especially if you're dealing with, for me, in this save, it was the best specialist. This chap, Master Craftsman Frankie, is an epic. He gives a 40% productivity boost, but he changes both the inputs. Instead of furs and cotton, the building now processes iron and wool. So we need iron ore and wool. Easy. The other items we have in the trade union are Lady Jane Smythe, Queen of Horticulture. She gives a 50% boost, increase the attractiveness, but she gives ponchos and bombins at a rate of 1/6. We'll quickly talk about the ponchos now. This 2,400-ish fur coats, this production is making me 600 tons of bombins. Now, it just so happens that one of the new lifestyle needs introduced with the last DLC. We're running out on jewels on here, don't worry about that. One of the lifestyle needs introduced with the last DLC is bombins. Now, this island's got 197,000, probably 200,000 tourists on it. And they only need 7 bombins a minute. So as you can imagine, that 600 tons of bombin that we're making on this island here is easily enough bombins to supply every single tourist in this save. It's going to be 3 times as much, probably. It'll be less than 200 when we're finished. So yeah, bombins and fur coats in one foul swoop, which was a bit of luck, but yeah, I mean, I would have used this specialist anyway because it gives a flat 50% boost. The other items, what we've got in the trade union is, we've got the optimized loom. This is another 50% boost. It reduces the workforce by 25%. And then for the fourth one, I am using the palace policy for 4 trade union slots. The fourth one is Ferris Al-Sarami. He gives 50% productivity and another 10% reduction in workforce. So we got crazy boosts on these. I mean, they're at 520 something flat out. I think it's 525% flat out. So yeah, they're producing every 5 seconds. They're making a fur coat. It's a ridiculous amount. Plus we're getting bombins, ponchos, work clothes. We only need the bombins, but all comes in handy. One of the other basic goods they need is bread. We're doing that on this island as well. I wanted to use 4 trade union slots for this item as well, so we squeezed them on the same island. We do have a little bit of space up here, but this was in case we managed to break the 4 million, but we're not going to. So yeah, bread. Bread needs flour normally. As you can see, the input for these bakeries is only grain, as because of this specialist, the baker. Now, he doesn't give any boost or anything like that. He simply changes the input from flour to grain. So you're cutting out a whole process. We need no windmills. We don't have to ship the grain to islands, to an island full of windmills to make the flour. We don't have to ship it anywhere else. Anytime you can skip a whole section of the process out is a brilliant specialist. So the baker was a must. Next one, Marie Antoine Patissier Royale. This chap produces chocolates and grapes as byproducts at a rate of 1/6, 1/5, and he gives a 50% boost. We're then using Elmer's electric oven, which is a 40% boost minus 25% workforce. And then again, Ferris Al-Sarami. So Marie Antoine, Ferris, the baker, and the oven. These are stalling because the island's full, but we're at 1, 2, 3, 400% when they're flat out. Again, making use of the 60% Department of Labour boost. Bakeries needed grain. All of the grain, we've touched on this in some other videos, all of the grain is being made in the New World via the haciendas. Virtually every island has got some form of hacienda on it with some form of crop, whether it's grain, potatoes, or sugarcane for rum. So yeah, plenty of grain. They increased the radius with the last DLC as well. We've now got 75 tiles each way radius, which is huge, as you can see. The range of this is now way bigger, way bigger than what it was before. So the grain is being made in the New World. It's all then being shipped over to the Cape. Cape grain. This says 1,416, but it's more than that. This is more than what the bakers need. We do need grain for something else, but my mind is eluding me. We needed it for something. We needed it for the silos, for the wool. That's about it. That wasn't much at all. That was only about 40 tons. So yeah, we're massively overproducing on the grain. You can see there's about 60 ships delivering the grain to the Cape, to this island. So it's got a constant supply of grain for the bakeries. The chocolate that's coming as a byproduct is coming in handy. I am giving that to Crown Falls. These skyscrapers, you can see they've got chocolate as an input. They're getting the electricity from the power plants that are spread across Crown Falls, and they're getting the chocolate. This means that the houses don't disintegrate and die. They've actually got something. So yeah, that's it. That's bread and fur coats done. The other thing they need, which is the biggest pain in the ass, is shampoo. The shampoo is being made on Crown Falls, as you can see. There's quite a lot of it. This was originally clipped throughout Crown Falls, but after doing some testing, the population that I was going to lose by trying to fit them in amongst the clipped shampoo factories was ridiculous. I forget the number. It was something like I can fit 16 around one town hall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can fit 15 around a town hall normally. When this had clipped shampoo factories in it, it went down to something like 6, so it was a third. And bearing in mind, I needed 72 clipped shampoo factories. So this whole part of this giant part of Crown Falls, this big bit here, was all clipped. And I was only going to get a third of the population out if I kept them clipped. So some basic calculations meant if I spread the shampoo up here and down this section here, I actually gained population by not clipping the shampoo factories. Shampoo needs soap, coconut oil, and cinnamon. Coconut oil and cinnamon is simply being made over here. Cinnamon, coconut in the New World, and then shipped over. The soap is being made on Crown Falls. This is dotted in amongst gaps in town halls where possible to fill up the space, and then just sacrifice one town hall over here. So the soap is being made here. I'm making 984 tons a minute. We need 963. The items for the soap is, I don't know how to say this bloke's name, someone Savone, suppressor of grime. It gives plus 50% productivity, minus 50% workforce, and it gives dynamite at a rate of 1/3. We are making use of this dynamite. I'll let you know about that in a bit. Then this item, a flat 50% boost, affects soap factory, rendering works, dynamite factory, and hacienda works. And then ferrous al cerami for a 50% boost, minus 10% workforce. So yeah, as I say, we're getting a shed ton of dynamite from this chap. We're getting about 400 tons of dynamite a minute, I believe. 415 tons of dynamite. Now, when I originally started this save, I didn't want to trade for anything. I wanted to make everything the traditional way, which we are doing. The only thing that we physically couldn't make enough of, due to the limitations of mines, and it was just humanly impossible, was going to be gold ore for the jewels and iron ore for the fur coats. So we are trading for the gold ore and iron ore. The way we're doing that is we're not actually making anything to use to trade for it. We're using the byproducts. We're using the dynamite. So the dynamite is being shipped to populated islands. Then it's being traded back for the iron ore, which then goes to the coat and bread island, making the fur coats. This is the same for pretty much every island in the Cape. I needed 2,000 tons of iron, so you could Imagine how many. We needed 10 islands trading for 200 tons a minute, and most of them have smallish storage, and we were making about 180. So I think there's 12 islands in total, trading for the dynamite and then turning it into the iron and then sending it back to this island. That takes care of the soap. The shampoo factories themselves are chemical plants. These can use a couple of items. They can use the double redundancy. This increases productivity by 50%. It increases the workforce and the maintenance cost, but it decreases the chance of fire, illness and riots. There is then another item, the re-rendering. This increases productivity. It increases the workforce and maintenance costs a little bit, but we're getting saltpeter, tallow and dynamite. Now, tallow is obviously needed to make soap. Yeah? The chemical plants themselves are making 281 tons of the 984 tons of tallow that we need as a byproduct. So with this re-rendering works in, we've almost cut a fifth of the tallow production out that we needed to do. The rest of the tallow is being made by fisheries. It's being made all around the place. Captain Moby gives tallow at a rate of 1/5. Mother of Pearls, tallow at a rate of 1/4. And then the veteran whaler at a rate of 1/5. To put this into perspective, you can make a shed load of tallow from your fisheries. Now, fish oil. I'm making 146 tons of fish oil on this island. There are 25 fish oil factories. And they are making me 95 tons of tallow a minute. So 100 tons of tallow just from these fisheries on the coastline. It's bonkers. Some of these islands with even bigger coastline, like this one. This is making me 111 tons of tallow a minute. It's very, very easy to make your tallow from your fisheries. If you don't want to use it for anything, if you don't want to use the fish oil for anything, I'm using it here to make fried plantains and in turn sugar. Just dump it at sea. Just get rid of it. Make your tallow this way. You don't have to waste any space in the old world making pigs to make the tallow. So tallow, very easy to make from your fisheries. You can also make it in Embessa, which we are doing. Same deal. Moby, Mother of Pearls and the whaler. This time it's from lobster fisheries. Again, we're just dumping lobsters. So what else do they need? They need bread. This was the island that we need to sort out, Jules, but I'll do that in a minute. They need fur coats, obviously. They need bread. They need jam. And they need jewels. They're the only other things that we needed to physically make for them. Apart from the goods for the restaurant, cafe and bar, but I'm going to do that in a video on its own. So we'll cover the jam. Jam is being made on small islands around about the Cape and the Old World. This one is unique because it's using the new item, the temperate podologist. This increases productivity, but it increases the workforce, but it now processes dung. It uses dung as an input. To put it in perspective, this island was called Jam 182, so it was making 182 tons of jam a minute. Now, when I swapped out this item, optimized pruning, this is a 15% plus forest density. When I swapped this out for this temperate podologist, I had to delete 3 jam orchards because they simply didn't have enough productivity to make the jam. So we decreased the number of jam orchards that we had here, and the production has now gone up to 370. So we've more than doubled the amount of jam this island was creating with 3 less orchards by giving them dung. Now, by no means is this easy because this island needs 136 tons of dung a minute. 136 tons of dung a minute. Now, the dung is coming from the islands making me the wool. This island was full all the way up to here making wool. There is another new item that came in with this update, Animal Nutritionist. This actually decreases productivity and increases the workforce, but it produces dung at a rate of 1/3. Now, I said before that this island was full with sheep farm. I realised about a week ago that I was going to have at least 5 small islands free in the Cape. So I decided to transfer the wool production from this main island to the small islands. And then this will eventually all be hotels. This will be just a medium island filled with hotels and tourists. So the wool production we have started to do. We've already done this one. Already done this little island. And the setup what I have here is Land Reform Act, Department of Labour. So they're getting a 60% boost from the Department of Labour. Plus we're getting goods back at a rate of 1/2. So every 2 cycles we're getting 1 back. I'm hoping the video hasn't paused. It's showing it as on my screen for some reason. I'm just going to keep recording anyway. Yeah. Just ignore me if it didn't pause. It's just a technical glitch that I could have done without. Yeah. So we're using Department of Labour, Land Reform Act. They've got silos. The grain's being made in the New World. We're then using these 3 items. Obviously, the 2 fabulous feed yards. These both give a 70% boost with varying different amounts of increased maintenance. And then the animal nutritionist, as I said, who gives the dung. So the dung is being made by the wool farms and then shipped to a couple of orchards to drastically increase the amount of jam we can produce. We need an awful lot of jam globally at the minute. We need 1,200 tons of jam. We're making 1,600 tons. So it's probably going to be around about 1,700 tons of jam we're going to need a minute. There is an item what I am using where possible to give jam back. It's this fella. Entremetier. Equipped in a trade union. Affects all restaurants, non-monument. Increases the workforce by 50%, but he produces jam back at a rate of 1/3. So every time this bar, restaurant and cafe does a cycle, every 3rd cycle, we're getting jam back. So because there's 3 of them, we're getting 1 ton of jam a minute. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So yeah, as I say, the wool is currently on this island. I've just done this one over here. I believe I was preparing another one. This one is going to be wool as well. And this one. So there'll be 4 small islands making the wool, which means then all of this can be deleted and this island will be fully fledged tourist island. Tourists are happy with the attractiveness of the city. That's because the sheep farmers are still here. When they go, that will change. So the only other thing we haven't talked about is the jewels. Now, jewels are being made in the old world. This island has a different policy to the rest of the production islands. This one is just using the Galvanic Grants Act. You get an extra 50% from electricity. So Department of Labour again, extra 50% from electricity. The reason I chose this is after choosing these 3 items, which we'll go over in a bit, there wasn't another item that gave more than a 50% boost. So it made sense just to get the extra boost from the electricity. So jewellery usually needs pearls and gold bars. Now I've used 2 items to change the inputs. I've used this one, Francois Strindberg, Crown Jeweller. He increases the productivity by 50%. He gives extra pocket watches at a rate of 1/4. Now, just as we were in the Cape, we were using the dynamite that we got as a byproduct to trade for the iron. In the old world, we're using the pocket watches that are come back for free from Francois Strindberg to trade for the gold ore to make the jewels. So, yeah, this is a crazy item. 50% boost, pocket watches at a rate of 1/4, and it removes an input. The building process is goods without any need for pearls, so you just don't need pearls. We've then got this fella, Goldsmith Gilbert. He doesn't give any boost or anything like that. He increases the attractiveness slightly by +5. But instead of gold, which means gold bars, the building process is gold ore. So with these 2 items, Francois Strindberg and Goldsmith Gilbert, you can make jewels straight from gold ore. No gold bars needed. No whatever they're called. I don't even know what the gold production buildings are called. I very rarely make them. Goldsmiths. So no goldsmiths needed. No pearl farms needed. All we are doing is trading for the gold ore with the free pocket watches, I may add, that come from Francois Strindberg, and then we're turning that gold ore into jewels. So this island is crazy. This is making 2,096 tons of jewels a minute. 2,096. Pretty mad. Then in the last couple of weeks, we had the release of the latest update and the lifestyle neos came in. We've already talked about bombins. They needed gramophones as well. This was very easy for me to squeeze these gramophones in on Crown Falls. We had a little bit of space here. A little bit of space here. I believe we're making like 40 tons of gramophones. They don't need an awful lot of gramophones at all. It's a very, very small amount. 32 tons we're making. I believe for 4 million I need like 29 tons. So the wood veneers are coming as a byproduct from Serapim Papadakis. We're then using Professor Rum Devi. Provides electricity, massive boost. Gives pocket watches, spectacles, penny farthings, steam carriages and sewing machines. We're then using the Harker's electric Tradle lathe. Another 50% productivity boost, minus 25% workforce. So you've got 3 items that can give a 50% boost here. And then we're getting loads of byproducts back as well. So gramophones are very, very good for getting byproducts back for free. So as I say, they need wood veneers, which are coming back as a byproduct. We did need a few more to top it up, so I was using the steam engines that come as a byproduct from Professor Rum Devi to trade for the extra veneers. The brass is then being made the traditional way. All of the zinc and the copper for it is being made over here on Crown Falls. And then the brass smelterers, I honestly can't remember where I put them. Well, they're here, right next to the mine. So there's 3 brass smelters there. There's 6 on the island in total. No idea. 3 there. There's definitely 3 somewhere else, but suffice to say the brass is easy to make. Zinc and the copper was coming from Crown Falls, the brass smelters. Then the gramophones. The third and final lifestyle need, what they needed was boots. Leather boots, the ones that the scholars use. Snuck these on the island with the jewelleries. They are here. I'm using a Faras Al Sarami. I'm using the Hopdale loom, which is plus 40, minus 25, and the optimised loom, which is plus 50, minus 25. So they're minus 50%, minus 60% workforce, and 140% boost. Then we've got Department of Labour 60, and the Galvanic Act another 50. So big, big boosts. All these need is Sangha cows, obviously. Sangha cows are being made over here in Ambessa. Sangha cows are using items to get them at 0 workforce. So we've got livestock farmer, which is plus 30% productivity, minus 60% workforce. We've then got the printing press, which is plus 25, minus 40, getting them to 0 workforce. And then the fabulous feed yard. I've just realised I haven't boosted these Sangha cows. Production over here. Unless I have. I did. So yeah, we're making 100 tons of Sangha cows a minute. Quite sure we don't need that many. Need 89. So yeah, a little buffer is always good. Yeah, apart from the bar, restaurant and cafe then, that's the production done. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. It takes a lot of time to set up all the trade routes to trade for the iron and the gold and stuff like that. But yeah, production done. Fur coats. Bread. Wool for the fur coats. The iron is being traded for. Jam on the little islands in the Cape and the Old World. Gramophones and shampoo being made on Crown Falls along with the soap. Then we've got jewel production and boot production in the Old World. Yep. Be sure to follow the Twitch. If you're wondering why I haven't been making videos on YouTube lately, it's because I've been focusing on streaming over on Twitch. twitch.tv /FoxGaming222. There'll be a link in the description. Yeah, come on, head over there. The finale for this build is very, very soon. I'm virtually done. I've got one more island to do. I've got to finish the wool production. I've got to fill this island out with more hotels. We've then got this one last scholar island, which is just trading for all the... We're researching the last few bits that we need, and then it's Crown Falls to build up. And then we are starting a brand new max pop run. Brand new max pop run. with a possibility to reach 17, 18 million because of the new lifestyle needs and newspaper. Not newspaper, the lifestyle need and the postal service. Anyway, I digress. Thanks as always for watching. Thanks for your patience in waiting for me to get back to YouTube, but these videos will be coming. As I did usually, I'll try and get at least one video out a week to go alongside the streaming over on Twitch. But yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share this to somebody who thinks like you, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one.